I want to talk about this bad habit that I used to have, that I still have, that I'm struggling with, that I do, that I'm definitely trying to break the habit of. The habit that I have is when I wake up in the morning, and I think a lot of us do. We wake up in the morning and we go through our emotions and we try to start figuring out our day. Figure out how it's going to transpire, figure out what we're going to do, and just kind of systematically go through our day and how it's just going to kind of unfold. And what I've come to learn about that in doing that is we have already gone through half of our day by the second sip of that coffee. And the reason why I say it's a bad habit is because we're in so much of a rush to get to those points of our day that we miss the little details that matter the most. That moment that when you wake up to just kind of settle before you even pick up your phone, before you turn on the TV, before you pop open that laptop, before you start bombarding your brain with information that you're trying to rush to. You're trying to rush to that moment that you're missing the moment in front of you. You're missing the moment that it takes that you require, because that is the most tender point in your day, is when you first wake up and what you set yourself up to be for that day. That is more important than anything that you will ever do for that day and any other day moving forward. But we're in such a rush to plan out our day that half of our day is done before that second sip of coffee. It is vital that when you wake up, you set your tone. You assess how you feel and what you want the day to go like, what you feel like. Because whatever transpires at that moment, whatever aggravates you at that moment and takes you down that rabbit hole, it's a nightmare to try to get out of. When you're running late and you're just kind of rushing to the work, you're rushing to work, you're rushing to that moment, you're rushing to that moment. Everything is going haywire, everything goes wrong. How long does it take for you to get out of that? Almost the whole day. But yet you were rushing for that. You were rushing to get to that moment to affect your whole, almost the remainder of your day, for you to stay in this zone. This is a habit that I still currently have, that I've been doing very well with. It's a mix. It's a 50-50. Some days are better than others. I'm not always successful. But it is something that I've realized that before my feet hit the ground, I got to be thankful. Before all my senses are hitting me and before my eyes open up, I got to be grateful for the fact that I still got a breath to take, that my wife and my children are around me, that there's a sun outside shining, that I'm able to take that sip of coffee and really resonate with what that feels like and what that tastes like. That moment of peace, that bird that's outside, those little things. And I know it sounds corny and I know it sounds minuscule. I know it sounds like, you're just talking a bunch of shit. And maybe I might be, right? But I got to tell you, once you establish a routine and making sure that you're grateful about those things, when you start making sure that you assess those things prior to rushing to your phone, prior to rushing to the television, prior to rushing to that laptop, that's still going to be there, even when you take that 15 minutes to just sit and settle. You're rushing through life. You're rushing to that moment to get to the next moment, to get to the next moment. And while you're doing that, you're missing the moment that you're having right now. You're missing the smile that your kid is giving you when he wakes up in the morning. You're getting them ready for school. You're so aggravated because you want to rush to that next moment that you might affect their day. You want to rush so much that you might have missed that "I love you, mommy. I love you, daddy." You may have forgotten to even say, "Hey, have an amazing day." Now, if you really take the moment now, this is vital, right? So take that moment right now to think about how many times that may have happened, or even think about a time that may have happened, and how crushing that was, how that felt when that happened. And it was because you didn't take that moment, you didn't take that 5 seconds to assess your situation. Had you taken the moment to just really, really settle in on your day, to really settle in on what you got going on and how grateful you are to be in the position that you're in, to enjoy the life that you have, that wouldn't have transpired. You would have approached that situation very differently. And I'm saying this because, I'm listening to this book that's really been impacting me, and it's like a bunch of these little mindful ways of just kind of living. And I'm gonna look it up for you while I'm speaking. But the book is so, it brings you to a point of just kind of like really starting to understand that the things that we rush through, the things that we kind of put ourselves through, and we're not paying attention to the small little details in life that are passing us by because we're rushing to get to that next moment, whether it be your rush. So, and I'll give you an example. Half of us, it's called Mindful Moments by Kai T. Morano. But back to what I'm saying, we're rushing to these moments, and the example that I'm going to give is how many of us are possibly unhappy with what we do for a living. Now, and I'm just going to, this may not be the greatest example, but it's an example. And you can assess this how you wish. You could take it apart as you wish. You could prove me wrong or attempt to prove me wrong or whatever you want. But I just need you to try to understand my point for this moment. A lot of us sometimes are working these jobs that we're not terribly happy with, and we're rushing to get there. You're rushing to get to the point of a place that you're not necessarily happy with or at. That you're missing the things that make you happy prior to you getting there. And I say this because, again, and this is a work in progress for me. Like I used to really not enjoy getting my kids ready for school because, again, it's that rush. You're rushing to get them to the bus on time. You're rushing to get to work on time. You're rushing to get yourself ready on time to be at work on time. And again, it's in me doing that, I'm missing all those mornings that I have the ability to spend the time with them, to be able to see them, right? To be able to enjoy those little laughs when they're watching their cartoons, their morning shows, eating their breakfast, and how much they may enjoy French toast, pancakes, or whatever it is that you make them, walking them to the bus. But you're so in a rush to get to the job. You're so in a rush to get to that laptop. You're so in a rush to get to that phone. Quiet down, that you're missing that smile and that laugh. That's kind of what it is that I'm kind of bringing light to. And again, it's a work in progress because I too suffer this. But in suffering and learning and reading this book, listening to this book, it's an audiobook, I've come to a realization that I need to really start those mindful moments, if you will, those mindful moments in life. You have to do your due diligence to not let them pass you by. You have to be more actively aware of the things that really matter to you, the things that really navigate why you do some of the things that you do, right? Because again, the comfort of that child, right? You might be rushing to this job that you might hate, right? But the comfort that you provide this child with, you going to work and fulfilling your responsibility to make sure that you have, a comfortable home for the child to live in. Because again, now we're coming full circle now with you getting to this place and doing what you need to do. The end result of you making sure that this is a place of comfort garnishes what? That joy, that smile. You're providing that. And you're missing it because you're caught up in other things. You're caught up in rushing to this place, to this phone, to this job, to this whatever it is that and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to be irresponsible. That would be irresponsible for me to say that to you. What I'm saying, again, is that those mindful things that we take for granted every day are more important than we think that they are. And I jotted this down because I wanted this to be a different topic, but I'm gonna reel it into this one because I think it's really relevant. And everything becomes urgent when you run out of mornings. That I believe. I don't know if it's accurate with all this AI stuff going on. I don't know if it's fact or fiction, but if the source is accurate, it was said by Alan Watts. Everything becomes urgent when you run out of mornings. And that's a scary thought because if you really, again, going back to what I'm saying, those moments become relevant when the mornings become less, when you know that your time is up, when you know that you're getting to those places where it's just like, this might be, I don't have a lot left in life, and I'm not trying to get morbid about it, but I'm just saying, when you get to those older ages and you know that there isn't much but for you to enjoy those moments, you waited till you're 80 years old to really start enjoying those moments. And by that time, you're lucky to see 100. And this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's like, you wait until you get to those places and you're rushing through life. You're rushing through life to get to all these things, right? You're rushing to life. You're rushing through life to attain these things that you want to attain. And those things are amazing. Don't get me wrong. You should always aspire to attain something in life and be something in life and be fulfilled in life. But again, just you getting to those points, those are fragments of who you actually are. That's not you as a whole. It's just a piece of you. And you're always going to be chasing all these little pieces, but what's the most important is how you gather the whole of you prior to you running out in the world and trying to attain all these beautiful things that you're going to attain in life. You have to be whole first before you start looking for these little pieces and these little fragments and stuff like that, right? And I really wish that I can articulate it better than I am. I'm a simple guy, but I feel like I'm conveying what it is what I'm trying to say here, and I believe that most people would understand what I'm trying to say. And I might be getting long-winded, and in doing so, it's because I'm passionate about what it is that I'm saying right now, because it was such an eye-opening thing that even that phrase that I just said to you, everything becomes urgent when time is up, right? When you're running out of mornings. Because what do you do when you run out of mornings? You got the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I could have did this. I wish I should have said this. I wish I had more time to do this. I wish I paid more attention to this. And that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. No matter how hard things might get, no matter how frustrating things might get on the simple things that matter to you. You know, whether it's, you know, children can frustrate you beyond belief. You know, spouses can frustrate you beyond belief, but that doesn't take away the fact that the moments that they smile, the moments that they show joy, the moments that you hold the hand or you get a hug, you know, the moments that you're able to wipe the tear from their eye if they need comforting. It's those moments that you really need to embrace and really need to get, you know, dig deep on. It's those moments where, you know, if you're on vacation and you're walking in, I don't know, Disney, you know, I'm going to use Disney because it's the happiest place on earth, but you're walking in Disney hand in hand and you see your kids having joy and you got your wife's hand in your hand and the sun is shining on you and it's burning hot. It's that moment, it's that brief moment that you should be paying attention to, you know? Anyway, that's all I got. I hope that I conveyed what I wanted to convey. I please leave some comments and you know, likes, thumbs up, whatever it is that your heart desires. I'm more than happy to hear from any and all of you. But do what you do it well, do it the best way you know how. Jay Cotto, I am out. Peace.